Afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM. Affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, we are on Amenuveve FM in Aflao, Ganga FM in Jirapa. We are on Radio Wa in Wa. We are live on X Spaces. We are on Facebook. We are on myjoyonline.com. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duroplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duroplus goes, water flows. This afternoon,
because it was a private discussion, it was a friendly conversation with somebody that we thought was respectable.
This afternoon, Superintendent George Asari admits recommending COP Alex Mensah and 3 others to Bugri Nabu for appointment as Inspector General of Police in what he describes as a confidential meeting.
He told me, Commander, they are looking for a new IGPO. So do you have somebody in mind that you can recommend? And I told him, of course, yes. So he asked me who that person is. And I mentioned Commissioner of Police George Alex Mensah's name to him.
I take you live to the committee hearing for more revelations. Also this afternoon, haircut of 35% on principals or coupons, interest payment deferred to 2026. Government proposal to external creditors as the finance minister races against time to exchange over $20 billion debt ahead of the IMF's first review.
Project financing will suffer if not complete termination of those projects, and that will come at a cost to the state. Expatriate staff in many enterprises have had to leave.
We'll get to hear from the Finance Ministry, which says the talks are going well.
You received an offer from the regional bond holder. We are negotiating, we are discussing seriously about that offer. For the bilateral creditors, we are also engaged in constructive discussions.
And we'll touch base with Operation Occupy BOG, where minority in parliament say it will be preposterous for the court to side with the police and stop their protest scheduled for tomorrow to demand the resignation of the governor and his deputies.
It will be very, preposterous. The court accept the very lame, and weak argument that I see the police advancing.
We have details as the court decides on the matter. On Friday, we have sports.
And boxer Samuel Techi will not participate in the qualifiers for next year's Olympic Games in Paris if he's not paid some $20,000 President Akufo-Addo promised him after he won a bronze at the last edition. And
hashtag say no to Galamsey. We are focusing on forest under siege. We highlight how the Apramprama forest now finds itself on the cliff of destruction due to the relentless activities of illegal mining activities. Do stay with me for details here on the Midday News. I am Emefa Apau, and this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay. Many thanks for your company. I'll take you to the ad hoc committee sitting on the plot to remove the Inspector General of Police, George Akuffo-Dampare, and one key witness has been appearing before the committee. And from what he's been saying, I'm talking about Superintendent George Asari. He's been appearing before the committee and confirmed that the meeting took place at the office of Daniel Bugri Nabu at Osu here in Accra. He's also been saying that between himself, Bugri Nabu, and Commissioner of Police George Alex Mensah, they took place during which the said recording was secretly done without they being aware, amongst others. He's also refused to comment on the fact that the IGP has not been managing the police service properly. But let's listen to George Asari in his earlier claim that indeed he met Bugri Nabu and recommended some 3 persons for the position of IGP.
The domestic one. What's the other meeting? The other meeting, I was there one day. Chief Bugri Nabu called me that, Commander, where are you? Then I told him where I was. Please, can you come and see me? I want to discuss something with you. Chief Bugri Nabu, after his call, when he made that statement to me that I should come and see him for a discussion, I told him, okay, Alhaji, I will come. So I went. When I went, he told me, after asking me about the progress of the assignment he gave me in respect of his assistant, Aiti, he told me, Commander, they are looking for a new IGPO. So do you have somebody in mind that you can recommend? And I told him, of course, yes. So he asked me who that person is. And I mentioned Commissioner of Police George Alex Mensah's name to him. And then made him know about his credentials, his academic qualification, and the way he's highly respected among the rank and file of the Ghana Police Service. There, Bogri Nabu told me, oh, as for Commissioner, I know him. He has come to my house before in Dansumai. It was some boys from the Jubilee House that brought him to my house. And according to my investigation, he is on retirement. And I said, wow, retirement? Where did you get all these information from? You are not a policeman. Police internal matters, how did you know it? So you told me, oh, Commander, but we are also in the system. We know everything. Then I said, okay, no problem. So I took time to let him understand that Commissioner George Alex Mensah is not on retirement. Anybody that told you that told you a lie. It is a total falsehood. It is not true. Commissioner George Alex Mensah is on his terminal leave pending retirement. That doesn't mean the person is on retirement. So I took my time to let him know the differences between the two. And then he told me that apart from him, if I go and tell the appointing authority and it backfires, who else can you recommend? And I recommended 3 other senior officers, commissioners. Number 1, COP, Mr. Ernest Owusu. Third one, COP, Mami Yatiwa Adodankwa.
Well, let me take you live to the hearing, and my colleague Samuel Imbura is on standby. Imbura, we know that questions about his opinion on the management style of IGP George Akuffo-Dampare came up. What was his response?
Well, Mr. George Asare has maintained that he wouldn't talk about it in public. He feels that if he talks about the happenings in the Ghana Police Service and the performance of the IGP, he will be denting the image of the service that he has committed to serve. He therefore wants an in-camera hearing to spill the deal. So at the moment...
Superintendent Asare. Yes, Honorable Chair. I don't know why you struggle to simplify matters. Is it wrong for a police officer to express an opinion about the performance of his boss or her boss? Is it wrong? Why are you struggling to answer the question?
Honorable Chair, not in public. You can. In privacy, you can. But in public, you cannot.
Ask you a question about area mama. And there's a statement in the audio that is attributed to you. The statement says that,
Honorable Chair,
I would like to quote from page 23. Speaker 3, the first one, Speaker 3. Ene, mene nana do wafa se wunim area mama. Or say now, everybody has put a blame on Bediatio. To wait, today, I was with Nanado's niece. You know area mama. She said everybody has put the blame on Bediatio. This is a statement captured in the audio as having been made by you.
Well, so that's Eric Opoku there asking George Asare questions now. I'll take you live. He's still asking him questions. Let's listen to it.
COP Mensah, appointed as the IGP. Is that not correct?
Mr. Chair, far from that. That's not correct. It was Chief Bugri Nabu that invited me to his office. And the records are there.
And so when you
said that's the first answer. If not answer the second. I'm sorry. Were you lobbying or not? Oh.
Honorable Chair, that was why I said far from that. I wasn't lobbying for anybody.
You should say so.
So when you said, I want to hear something good, what was this something that you were expecting?
Honorable Chair, it is because he said that the commissioner, that's admirable to almost all the policemen, well respectable, granted the opportunity to be the head of the Ghana Police Service. Policemen will go gay. So basically, that was the feeling I expressed. And it wasn't because of lobbying.
So what you're listening to are live proceedings from the Parliament's ad hoc committee set up to probe, plot to remove Inspector General of Police George Akuffo-Dampare, and currently before the committee is George Asare, one of the main key suspects in this particular issue in terms of the recording that has been made public. And as and when we get more from the committee, we'll bring that to you. But let's focus on other stories now. And external creditors holding $20 billion of Ghana's debt are yet to agree to government debt exchange proposals seeking to waive 35% of their principals or coupons in a debt exchange program. Matured interest payments between $11 and $14 billion will also be paid in 2026. While these are exclusive details, joining us is learning before the creditors for consideration. A visiting International Monetary Fund team is in Ghana to review progress made so far by Ghana on the 3-year, $3 billion deal in terms of the first tranche that we've received so far. Success for Ghana will mean a release of another $600 million. Well, former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says a restructured external debt will have a massive impact on the economy.
External debt holders may be compelled to accept a haircut of up to 35%, but certainly not less, with interest service, which is between 11 to 14 billion US dollars, deferred until after the conclusion of the IMF program in 3 years. That will mean that project financing will suffer. Projects that are being financed with loans will come to a standstill, if not complete termination of those projects, and that will come at a cost to the state and the Republic of Ghana. The country may not appreciate the level of our crisis, but we certainly should be looking forward to declaring a state of economic emergency because loan finance projects have been halted. Expatriate staff in many enterprises and undergoing have had to leave. Domestic workers have been laid off, and there is no solution inside.
So how is government progressing with talks for the debt exchange with her external creditors? Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, is confident a deal will be reached this month.
We have two types of external debts here. You have the Eurobond holders, and then also you have the bilateral creditors. So for the Eurobond holders, we set up two committees. The first committee for the international bond holders, and another committee for regional bond holders. We've had constructive engagement with them, and we actually shared in May this year their restructuring scenarios, hoping to receive an offer from them. As I speak to you, we've received an offer from the regional bond holders, and we are negotiating, we are discussing seriously about that offer. We're hoping to receive an offer from the international bond holders. For the bilateral creditors, we are also engaging constructive discussions with them. It's looking good.
That's the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. Now, let me give you an update on the scheduled protest to occupy the Bank of Ghana. It was scheduled to happen tomorrow, but we are just learning that it's been rescheduled. And the protest initially expected to go on tomorrow we know it was hit by an injunction application. Now, an Accra High Court will deliver its ruling on the application on Friday, forcing the postponement of the protest. Richard Kujonyako is in court for us. He joins us with details. So what exactly transpired in court, Richard?
Well, so the top hierarchy of the minority, I saw Casey Latufosen, Okujeto Ablakwa, and the likes. They were in court. And so two preliminary objections were raised by counsel for the minority, Eduji Tamaklo. He says the signing of the motion paper and the conduct of the case by the superintendent of the police service offends some sections of the State Proceedings Act, and based on that, the motion has to be struck out. He explained that a paper made pursuant to the Public Order Act is an originating action with the same effect of a writ or a petition, and based on the State Proceedings Act, it is the AG or its authorized officers that ought to sign that particular paper. And so to the minority, the application by the Ghana Police Service is incompetent. So that was really what happened.
Well, but the court has scheduled that it will hear the injunction application on Friday or rule on it on Friday. What's been the minority's reaction to what transpired today?
So the minority says the protest has not been called off. They are only giving due recognition to the court, and they are urging their supporters to get ready for the new date that will be announced after the Friday hearing.
As law-abiding citizens, we don't want to sidestep the courts, because we will need them to protect us also one day. So the courts have not stopped us from demonstrating, and the courts have not changed the route of the demonstration. And we have no intention to change the route of the demonstration. Indeed, the arguments on the route hasn't even happened yet in court. It is just our pointing out that the police is incompetent in the way that they have come to court. So we are pleading with our supporters and those who have prepared themselves for this march to remain prepared, because this march will happen. It will happen on the same route. It is only the date that will change after the court has given a ruling. So on Friday, we will be back here in court. We will listen to the ruling of the court on the preliminary matter. We will go into the substantive matter of whether or not the Bank of Ghana premise is a security zone, whether or not, the route that we have chosen cannot be used by us, and then whether or not we are the ones causing a coup in this country. All those arguments will be heard on Friday after the ruling on the preliminary matters and the decision taken by the court, and then we will announce the specific date of the demonstration.
That's the Boko Central MP, Mama Yariga, there speaking to my colleagues in court. Well, in a related development, Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Patrick Yabwama, is advising the minority to tread cautiously with its actions against the central bank.
This is not the first time a group or a body is embarking on a demonstration that the police has altered their routes. It's not the first time. It's not as if the Bank of Ghana is saying we are not going to even receive your petition. It's the content of your petition that is the most important. Where you want to deliver it, sometimes I don't believe it's very important. You want to organize a protest, you want to present a petition. Sometimes groups want to petition Parliament. They come to the main street just opposite the conference center. And the leadership are allowed to bring the petition to the leadership. They receive it the forecourt of Parliament. It happens. Even in Jubilee House, they send people out there to receive it. It's a matter of discretion by the security to at least ensure that the peace around an institution of the central bank is guaranteed.
This is the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM, brought to you by Petrosol. Your clean fuel in full quantity Petrosol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows. We'll take a quick break. We return with sports and then we focus on forest and the siege. We highlight how the Apamprama forest now finds itself on the cliff of destruction due to the relentless activities of illegal mining. Please do stay.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Imagine say water wake up at dawn. E no buff, e no chop. Where it vanish for your area for 2 weeks. You not get one drop safe inside your tank.
Hey.
Haja, our life was in dangerous. Only our neighbor get water with water tank.
Water tank?
Yes, water tank. Mamma mia, that water tank get meter for checking water level. That water tank be fine past Kumasi Selendion. That water tank be tough like Ghana Army. That water tank, they carry water pepe, so say some no go left inside the supply tank. What a tank! As my boss, Mr. Poncho, go talk.
Beautiful, durable, with water level indicator and accurate volume of water. Water tank. What a tank! By Duraplast.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports. Fentu Tahiru Fentu Salamatu is here. Hi.
Hello. And boxer Samuel Techi, he's been dropped from Ghana's amateur boxing team preparing for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games qualifiers after he demanded to be paid $20,000 promised him by President Nana Akufo-Addo. The 22-year-old ended a 29-year wait for an Olympic medal for Ghana when he won bronze in the boxing event at the Tokyo Olympic Games in 2021. After his feat, Akufo-Addo announced that Techi would be giving a car, $10,000 in cash, plus a further $20,000 to be put in a fund towards his future. Now, according to the president of the Ghana Boxing Federation, Bernard Korte, Techi has demanded all that was promised him be paid before he agrees to participate in the 2024 qualifiers.
Initially, he came to me that he wanted to be part of the team. So he wrote to me, and then he said, no problem. But he came with conditionality that if he's able to join, this is what he expects the federation to do. You understand it? He was actually demanding money that was actually pledged by the president, that which is the $20,000 that's supposed to be used as a developmental fee. You understand it? And secondly, he demanded that before he joined the team, he should be given a scholarship, that is Olympic scholarship. So these are the conditions, and I can tell you we don't have the power, but ours to facilitate, because it is the president that pledged that he was going to.
That's the president of the Ghana Boxing Federation, Bernard Korte. Ghana will be competing to secure qualification in 5 of 7 weight categories in the African qualifiers, which is scheduled for 9th to 15th September in Dakar, Senegal.
I'll be waiting for the response from the presidency to Joy Sports on this particular matter. But let's focus on illegal mining at this point. And the Apamprama Forest, a vital forest reserve in the country, now finds itself on the cliff of destruction due to the relentless activities of illegal mining. Now, the forest nestled in the lush landscape of Ghana was once a bastion of biodiversity and ecological significance. In our latest Hotline documentary, Erastus Asaridonko reports how state institutions, including regulatory bodies and law enforcement agencies, will bear the responsibility of protecting Ghana's natural resources and preserving its environmental heritage. Look on for the forest to be dissipated.
This is the Kobro community, an old town which sits deep within the Pamprama Forest Reserve. Residents still have fresh memories of how the destruction of the Kobro section of the reserve started in 2018. One by one, they tell me of how the late Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Sir John, in 2018 convinced the townsfolk that the government was undertaking a reclamation exercise in the forest.
Initially, they said they were covering pits, but then they started building settlements. We wondered why they were setting up shelters if they were just covering pits. Then a number of machines were brought in, so we mobilized to demonstrate. But Sir John came in and assured us they were just planting trees. But after a month when we went back, the forest was crawling a lot of miners.
That began a series of events that marked the woes and destruction of a once beautiful natural forest. A forest entry permit was granted to Unique Star Point Company Limited to carry out reclamation activities on some portions of the forest reserve in November 2017. In the same year, a forest entry permit was granted to Heritage Imperial Company Limited to conduct prospecting activities in December 2017.
Now, the president of the National House of Chiefs, Mahene of Arianso traditional area in the Western region, Nana Ojiahowo Yaojebi II, says government has slowed down the fight against Galamsey. He explains that the government is more focused on winning the next election, thereby reducing its authority to combat illegal miners.
When elections are close, the authority of people in power is reduced. They are very careful. They need the numbers to vote for them, so they are very careful. And lastly, Nananom are not part of the regulatory regime. So all that we can do is to draw the attention of the police. And sometimes when you draw the attention to them, they also tell you they don't have logistics.
Which means that we cannot win the war then against illegal mining.
Well, I believe we can, except that government should vote money, big one, and go out one time. Make sure. Government almost succeeded, especially when they started banning, what do we have? Excavators and so on and so forth. Government almost won, but I don't know what happened. You remember His Excellency the President said he's
putting his presidency
on the line. Unfortunately, after the elections, when his vote reduced drastically, I believe the party people advised him. So they have slowed down. That's what I say. Government has slowed down.
That's the president of the National House of Chiefs, Nana Ojiahowo Yaojebi. Now, the Traditional Council has registered its displeasure on what it describes as a professional misconduct of police personnel stationed in the Hohoe municipality of the Volta region. Well, the council recounted that 3 natives were killed between December and September 2023 due to unguarded operations of the police in the area. Addressing the press conference in Hohoe, Togbega Gabusu VII entreated the government to set up an independent committee of inquiry to investigate the unwarranted harassment and killings in the area.
Reinforcement of police detachment was called to the scene, only to notice that the police vehicle pickup was in flame. This angered the police officers who stormed Bingodonu town and vandalized properties and set fire to 41 motorbikes, smashing 7 cars, 1 tractor, breaking into shops, destroying fridges, shelves, and looted items in the shops. As a result of the mayhem, people have to flee amid sporadic shooting. Teachers were assaulted, and their mobile phones smashed. School pupils were threatened with guns and locked up in their classrooms. 12 innocent men were arrested in the mayhem.
Togbe Gagabus to the ending the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau. Many thanks for your company. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil up next.